Within the Coconino County Courthouse, the atmosphere was heavy, so dense it seemed the walls themselves were taking breaths. It wasn't merely the blistering Arizona heat upon them, it was tension. Residents and diehard Sister Wives enthusiasts filled the mahogany-paneled chamber, shoulder to shoulder with TLC producers hovering in the shadows like vultures, poised for the ideal dramatic capture. At the front, Robyn Brown stiffly sat in her blue dress suit, fingers clenched on the edge of the defense table until they were white. This wasn't just another day in court. This was the end of years of acrimonious legal wrangling. Before her, Meri and Janelle Brown, who hadn't shared a bedroom in more than a decade, huddled near their lawyers, thumbing through piles of documents. Behind Robyn stood Kody Brown, attempting to look confident, but his foot gave him away, tapping anxiously beneath the table. The golden pompadour once that had had him as its main attraction now lay limp, like a worn-out mop. Judge Harrington, keen-eyed and unyielding, leaned forward. "We are here today to hear the case of Brown versus Brown." She sorted through the evidence, financial deception, transfer fraud, real estate disputes, before gazing sternly at Robyn. Her tone was sharp, firm. "This court finds for Meri Brown and Janelle Brown, the plaintiffs." Gasps resonated throughout the courtroom. Robyn's jaw dropped. "What? No, that's not fair. Those houses are mine." "Evidence is overwhelming," the judge answered. "The deed's transfer was unlawful. The rightful co-owners will retake possession of all 3 properties, vacate within 30 days. The strike of the gavel was final. Outside, cameras thronged. Robyn covered her face, Kody pushing her forward through a barrage of questions. "Are you being evicted, Robyn? Do you regret your marriage to Kody? How does it feel to finally win, Meri?" Meri's gaze was unwavering, decades of betrayal behind her, justice at last in hand. She stood before the cameras. "It's like justice has finally caught up." Janelle, more subdued but no less determined, supplemented with a tiny, satisfied grin. "We reclaimed our lives, not our property." At her Flagstaff McMansion, Robyn navigated half-packed boxes and strewn possessions. Her children stood at the stairs, wide-eyed. "Why are they stealing our stuff?" Brianna's voice trembled. "Because people are heartless," Robyn whispered, hugging her daughter close. "They want us to hurt." Kody stood back, scrolling through his phone, every ping sinking the slump of his shoulders. He knew the truth. The court had made the right decision. Even if Robyn pleaded with him to battle on, the verdict was inviolable. When the sheriff's deputy arrived with the official eviction notice, the finality hit. They had less than a month before everything changed. Across town, Meri and Janelle sat together in a small coffee shop, something that would have been unthinkable just years ago. Between them, the freshly sealed property documents. "I didn't think we'd ever get here," Janelle said quietly. "She stole more than homes," Meri answered. "She stole years, our faith, our family. But this," she touched the papers, "this is the beginning of taking it back." Their triumph was subdued, nearly religious. No champagne, no yelling, just the reality of closure. On eviction day, a moving truck sat. In Robyn's driveway, she wrapped herself in a blanket on the porch, staring at the deputies as each photo frame was removed from every naked wall. There was a reminder, this life she had built on Kody's promises was collapsing. The last box was filled in by noon. Robyn looked back for a final time before getting in the SUV. She wasn't the picture-perfect, camera-perfect wife anymore. She was a woman who had lost the bet of a lifetime. At their small rental, Robyn paced. "They're making fun of us. Meri and Janelle are already celebrating, I bet. You were supposed to take care of us." Kody didn't look up. "We couldn't win, I told you." She stiffened, watching the loss in his eyes. A man without the fairy tale he had once promised. Later, in a real estate agency with a faint scent of paper and wood polish, Janelle grasped a thick manila envelope. The agent pushed 2 brass keys along the counter. "Congratulations. Both homes are officially in your names again." Meri let out a deep breath, tracing the cold metal with her fingers. "It's odd," Janelle whispered, "returning to something you believed was lost forever." Meri nodded, odd but right. As they went outside, the Arizona sun wasn't stifling anymore. It was like sunlight bursting through after decades of darkness. As Meri and Janelle entered the home Robyn had battled to save, it was disturbingly quiet. A lamp lay smashed in a corner, a stack of unopened letters stood untouched on the counter, and a couple of half-packed boxes seemed to have been heaved together with little thought. Robyn's perfume remained, that lingering specter, still clinging to the air. As they walked across the vacant living room, Janelle's voice lowered to a whisper. "This place feels different, like all the stress has been packed up and moved out." Meri stroked her hand along the banister, stopping at a deep scratch in the wood. "No," she whispered. "The tension's still here, we just get to choose what to do with it now." They started the workmanlike tasks, composing lists of furnishings to replace, walls to paint, repairs to book. But under it all was the unobtrusive satisfaction of being back in this house. Downtown, Robyn paced the small living room of their two-bedroom rental. The kids fought over who would occupy which corner of the shared bedroom as boxes stacked toward the ceiling. She grumbled under her breath, more to herself than to Kody. "This isn't fair, we went from a dream home to this." Kody sat at the kitchen table, staring at his phone. "It's temporary," he said matter-of-factly, though even he didn't think so. He'd phoned every attorney he could remember. None would touch the case. The production staff at TLC had backed off too, watching to see if the breakdown of the family would unfold in its entirety before renewing for another season. Robyn slammed a cabinet door. Temporary doesn't make it less humiliating. In Flagstaff, rumor spread quickly. At the supermarket, two middle-aged women intercepted Meri outside of the produce stand. "We read about the court news," said one, smiling. "Good for you, you were treated unfairly." Meri, accustomed to sympathy or judgment from strangers, sensed something different in that instant: respect. But Robyn, across town, experienced the opposite. In another store's deli section, a woman's voice pierced the air for all to hear. "I guess the McMansion days are over." Robyn's face flushed. She left her cart and exited without a glance back. That evening, Janelle stood in her newly regained kitchen, a notebook open on the counter. Out the window, she pictured plots of vegetables, the community garden she had envisioned for so long. She phoned her son Logan. "This is more than a house," she said to him. "It's a foundation, it's somewhere the kids can always return." "Mom," he replied softly, "I'm proud of you, you earned this." In the rent, bills lay on the kitchen counter, white envelopes stamped in red, past due. "We can't keep living like this," Robyn snarled. Rent, moving expense, attorney fees were drowning. Kody massaged his temples. "What am I supposed to do? Sell my truck, work a 9 to 5? I've been working on the show." "This time the show won't save us," Robyn snapped back. "TLC's backing off. They're more interested in Meri and Janelle now." Something flashed in Kody's eyes, anger, fear, perhaps both. "You think this is all my fault? You wanted the houses, you wanted the lifestyle." Her voice shook, but it wasn't from sadness. It was hard, bitter. "I wanted a life we could be proud of. Now we have a rental and a mountain of debt." Silence fell between them, denser than any argument they'd ever shared. There was a still montage, a bedroom painted golden warm by Meri as sunlight poured in. Janelle on her hands and knees in the backyard, plotting the rows of her garden. Robyn, in the dark alone, browsing through obscenely priced real estate on the internet. And Kody, sitting in his truck at night, looking at the dark shape of the McMansion that once had been his. The power had tipped, and they could all sense it. In the green makeup room of a television station, coffee blended with a hint of anxiety. Robyn sat in the makeup chair, dressed in a mauve-colored blouse with a soft sheen, and a gold pendant designed to radiate warmth. She had rehearsed her lines, set to position herself as an innocent victim of circumstance, not a plotter. The producer had reminded the producer simply, "Keep it relatable." When the camera is rolled, the host smiled warmly. "Viewers have watched your journey unfold for years, Robyn. Many were stunned at the ruling of the court. How are you doing?" Robyn's voice quivered just enough to ring true. "It's been terrible. People call me greedy, manipulative, but all I ever wanted was to keep my family safe. Those houses, my kids felt safe there. Losing them has been terrible. She leaned forward slightly, tears glistening as the camera drew in. Nobody really gets what it's like to be targeted. I married into a family that I believed would be together, but I've been treated like a stranger. I've been blamed for something I didn't do. The host nodded slowly, sympathetically as the interview, and Robyn's carefully constructed persona unfurl in the studio lights. Robyn exhaled slowly, her eyes fixed on the floor. I think people got it wrong, she said, voice soft but firm. Those property transactions, they were misunderstood. But Meri and Janelle, they saw an opening and they took it. Now I'm back at square one. The camera lingered on her hands, clasped tight in her lap. The unspoken message was clear: feel sorry for me. The interview played on a subdued Friday night. By Saturday morning, it was everywhere, just not the way Robyn wanted. An Instagram live clip started circulating. Meri and Janelle, coffee mugs in front of them, sat one beside the other in Janelle's newly renovated kitchen. You all saw Robyn's interview, Meri began, her tone cool, steady. She left out some pretty important details, like the fact those property transfers happened without our permission, or how she pushed Kody to cut us off during the pandemic so we'd be forced out of the family homes. Janelle leapt to her defense without hesitation. She's attempting to rewrite history, but court records are public, anyone can do a lookup. We weren't stealing anything from her, we were reclaiming what was ours from the beginning. Meri inched forward, her tone becoming stiff. And if we're discussing keeping children safe, she omitted that, just a couple of weeks after saying she wasn't interested in material possessions, she signed one of the houses in her name. I still have the messages. Off camera, Janelle's phone rang. She looked at it and smirked. Looks like the court documents are already out there. By Sunday, #Robyn Lies and Team Meri Janelle were already making their way into Twitter's trending topics. The fans analyzed every shot of Robyn's interview, pointing out contradiction after contradiction. Home in the rental, Robyn sat on the couch, clutching her phone as the comments poured in, angry, mocking, unrelenting. Her voice was raw when she barely whispered, "They're killing me. They're making me into a monster." From the kitchen, Kody didn't look up from his coffee. You went on TV, you opened the door, what did you expect? She glared up at him. I expected you to stand up for me, to make a statement. He folded his arms. Stand up for what? Robyn, Meri and Janelle are telling the truth. The words struck her like a blow. For the first time, she was seeing Kody not as a friend, but as someone who could be getting away. A final montage. Meri, smiling as she read supportive messages. Janelle, laughing on the phone with her son Hunter, talking about her new garden. Robyn, huddled in the darkness, a glow of her phone lighting up tear-stained cheeks as another offensive headline appeared. Kody driving around Flagstaff, the truck full of quiet. It was almost midnight when Robyn closed herself in the little home office. The children slept. Kody half paid attention to an old Western movie in the living room. She glared at her phone before she made the call. Hello, this is Sharon with TLC Development. Robyn breathed. Robyn Brown from Sister Wives. There was a silence. Of course, what can I do for you? I've been thinking it's time for a new chapter, a show about my story, my truth, what it's like to rebuild after betrayal. Sharon's voice shifted into producer speak. Robyn, the network is well aware of public opinion currently, and it's not positive. But that's why it might work, Robyn persisted. Redemption, people could actually see who I really am. Sharon didn't say no, but her vague, "We'll discuss it internally," felt like a door cracked open just enough to tempt hope. The next morning, Meri's phone buzzed with a message from a former TLC crew member. She sipped coffee at her kitchen table as she read it. FYI, Robyn's pitching a spin-off, says it's her redemption story. Meri called Janelle immediately. You're not going to believe this. In minutes, they were on a video call, sunlight pouring into Janelle's kitchen. She's attempting to rewrite everything all over again, Janelle said starkly. If she gets a platform, we'll be the villains. Meri's jaw clenched, so we ensure she doesn't get it. They decided, to go public with all their receipts, all their behind-the-scenes reality, before TLC could risk another PR nightmare. That afternoon, Kody occupied the small back porch of the rental, looking out over the patchy yard. Robyn's voice cut through the quiet. "Last night I phoned TLC about a possible show, me and the kids alone." Kody slowly turned to her. "Without you." "I thought that it might be less complicated that way." His eyes were narrowed. "Or perhaps you believe that I would ruin it for you. You believe that I cannot see what you are doing. You are grasping for relevance, and it is making us appear pathetic." "I'm just trying to keep us alive," she snapped back. He stepped back, his hands pushed into his pockets. "No, you are attempting to cover yourself, and I am not certain I wish to be involved in whatever this becomes." The words lingered in the air, delicate and breaking simultaneously. 2 days later, Meri and Janelle sat in Janelle's living room, a phone perched on a tripod between them. "Good morning, everyone," Janelle began, her voice warm but steady. "We wanted to share some stories, the kind that never made it to air." Meri leaned in, her voice steady but sharp. "Such as when Robyn and Kody moved all the property quietly into her name, after promising us equal stake in the transactions. Or how, while she was completely renovating her apartment, we were informed that there was no money for hours." No yelling, no scowl on their faces, only a continuous flow of receipts, documents, emails, texts, set out step by step. By the video's close, indignation against Robyn took over the comments, and within a few hours, it went viral. In a glass-walled office in Los Angeles, an executive at TLC scrolled through her iPad, the hashtags impossible to avoid. "Truth wins. Team Meri and Janelle. Cancel Robyn spinoff." She breathed, turned to her aide, and instructed, "Put an end to any speculation about a Robyn show. The optics are terrible. If we do anything, it's with Meri and Janelle. The audience is already in place." Robyn sat single-handedly on the couch, her phone weighing heavily in her hand. "We will not be going forward with the project development for a solo endeavor currently." Her stomach sank. She didn't have to wonder why. Meri and Janelle had closed the door before she'd even reached it. From the kitchen, Kody yelled, "Who was that?" She jammed the phone back in her pocket. "No one." But the reality hit harder than she anticipated. This time, she didn't have a move left. None. Across blueprints and coffee, Meri and Janelle chuckled together, viewing the sun set over a neighborhood that wasn't Robyn's. At the rental, Robyn stood in the doorway, observing Kody's truck drive away with no explanation. The ticking clock supplied the silence until the crunch of the gravel faded. Nights ran together. Kody was staying out later doing errands, seeing the kids, and not returning home until morning. When she tried calling, the phone automatically went to voicemail. One morning, he walked in smelling of campfire. "Where were you?" she snapped. "With Garrison and Gabriel, we grilled, spoke." "You couldn't text me." He strolled past her, unmoved, didn't think it mattered anymore. At a packed community center, Meri and Janelle appeared on stage for a benefit to raise money for women's shelters. Flashing cameras captured their hug. Janelle began, "We know what it's like to begin anew, and we know the power that comes from being together." Meri continued, "It's not about us, you can too." The crowd applauded loudly, the atmosphere charged. TLC cameras were present, off-camera. But their video painted a telling picture. The fans had already selected their heroines. The next morning, headlines screamed, "Meri and Janelle steal the show." Robyn scrolled for hours, viewing the accolades rain down on her old sister wives. Kody was spending more time with the children, even camping with Logan. When she asked him why she hadn't been invited, his response hurt. "They're not ready to see you. It's complicated." "They're my family too," she insisted. "They don't think so." One Thursday, she tried to lure him back. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, her famous homemade buns. He never came home. By the time she blew out the candles, something in her broke. She phoned TLC once more that night, no pitch, just an appeal. "I need to tell my side. If I don't, I'll be gone forever." The voice on the other line was detached. The audience has moved on, Robyn. You don't have the numbers. We can't build a show around a character they no longer identify with. When the phone call ended, it seemed like the final door slammed. Sunlight poured into freshly painted windows as Meri and Janelle strolled through their remodeled home, laughter trailing behind them. In a wide-open field, Kody and his sons tossed a football under a blue sky. And in the quiet rental kitchen, Robyn stacked dishes in slow, deliberate motions, her face pale, her eyes fixed on nothing. The tick of the lonely clock echoed in an empty space, its silence engulfed by the last surge of sound before it dissolved into nothingness. On the outside, the driveway was bare. Robyn stood at the edge, her gaze following the newly made tire tracks embedded into the earth, traces of the eviction vehicle. The flagstaff wind cut across the trees, biting into her face. To her back, the home where she and Kody swore they'd grow old hung empty, vacant. The 2 days allotted to her to vacate had been like a public humiliation. Neighbors sat on porches, whispers curling like vapor under coffee cups. Even the friendly ones avoided her eye anymore. The news had landed on every doorstep. Court awards Meri and Janelle Brown assets and damages in landmark ruling. Everyone was aware Robyn had lost. Now she was unpacking in a cramped rental across town, her children sitting on the floor, phones glowing in their hands. Each of them scrolled through the same viral clips, Robyn sobbing as she was escorted past reporters, Janelle embracing her lawyer, Meri smiling as she stepped out of court. The sting deepened when she saw Meri's Instagram live that night. No names were spoken, but the words cut sharp. "Sometimes you feel like you've created a family," Meri had said, only to discover they were constructing walls between you and your future. Today, those walls collapsed. The World Wide Web went mad. Robyn couldn't sleep that night. Across town, Janelle sat in her tiny kitchen with her oldest daughter, Savannah, drinking tea. This wasn't simply a legal victory, it was personal. For years, as Kody gave his all to Robyn's life, Janelle had been pushed aside, manipulated, used as a placeholder. And now the court had acknowledged her as co-owner of assets Robyn and Kody had vowed were theirs only. Janelle did not do champagne celebrations or grandstanding. Subdued contentment was more her style. She paid off loans, bought land for her children, and most critically, severed all financial connections to Kody. Savannah leaned forward. "She's not going to drop this, Mom, you know that." Janelle nodded slowly. "She may try, but she's out of moves." And then there was Meri, finally taking her turn in a moment she'd waited over a decade for. Vindication was more satisfying than triumph. The judgment placed her in the media spotlight as the sister wife who fought and prevailed. Investors were already waiting in line for her proposal to expand her bed and breakfast into a regional chain. In interviews, she remained level-headed, suggesting someone who'd played a long game with family money until the truth came out. In private, she maintained boxes, actual boxes of documents. Proof. She knew Robyn still had allies, but public opinion was tenuous. One misstep and it could shift again. Meri wasn't going to let her have that opportunity. While Robyn's life disintegrated quicker than she could stop it, what she and Kody once had was now a shadow of what was left. 2 investment homes lost, one already in renovation by its new owner, the other up for sale at auction. Pictures of her once stately Flagstaff home now splashed across the internet, vacant and bleak. Kody didn't relent. His anger was at her, not the court. He felt she pushed too hard, that she didn't settle quietly, that she involved Meri and Janelle in a public battle. After a final night of yelling, he slammed the door and didn't return until the next day, re-emerging with the stench of defeat and booze around him. Robyn didn't inquire where he'd been. She had more pressing issues. Her attorney's voice on the phone was stern. Meri and Janelle were seeking the court's permission to audit her business records from years ago. If they discovered what they were after, Robyn wouldn't only lose her belongings. She might even end up in prison.